Hi. Gene was a really special person in my life, as I'm sure he was really special.
Get closer now.
Okay. Gene was a really special person in my life, as I'm sure he was in all of yours. And I've never met anyone that put more effort into making sure that he didn't die old and comfortable in his bed. But I'm pretty convinced that it's because that the Grim Reaper really didn't want to mess with him in his prime. And he was, he tried to wait until he was weakened enough to maybe come for him, but I'm pretty sure that Gene still gave him the fight of his life and was dipping his head in the river Styx. But I want to keep this a happy day. He's one of the most inspirational people I ever met. And I just wanted to know that yesterday I walked out to win a pro wrestling title because of him. I wouldn't have been there without him, and I wore his pinky thinking of him. And I took my black belt off and I whipped the crap out of some chick with it, thinking of him. And when she passed out from the pain and was lying unconscious on the ground, I stepped over her unconscious body, made sure to step on it on my way over, thinking of him. And I know that those moments thinking of him won't stop, especially every time I look at this little girl. 3 minutes is up. So, thank you guys for loving it.
Come in first, introduce yourself, who you are. Because some people, they don't know who you are. And you just thinking about it.
Gary Goltz, good friend to Gene. Not as long as some of you that knew him all the way back to his origins. Of course, I knew him on highway patrol. He jumped over a couch, dressed as Broderick Crawford. There's a word we have for a guy like Gene in the Jewish faith, and that is, he was a Mensch. On my dad's grave, it says, "Here lies a Mensch," and I'm going to tell you, Gene LaBelle was a lot of things, but he was a real Mensch. I'm going to mention 2 of his friends. One who died a little while back, Hal Sharp. When Gene was banned from judo for being the only judo guy to throw like Ronda, which is ridiculous, judo missed the bus. He would go work out at Sharp's dojo, and Sharp says he used to throw him around. I don't know if I believe that. When Sharp passed away, he made it to his 10th dawn. The other guy who I was really hoping would be here today, I just left him yesterday at the U.S. Judo Federation's board meeting, is the person Gene refers to in his book as, if you're a Hayward, you're really something special. I was with Hayward yesterday, Hayward Nishioka. Hayward brought him up at the board meeting and we had a moment of silence for him. And anyhow, I won't take too much time, I promise, Gokor. I do want to tell one Gene LaBelle story, it's a good one. My cousin's kind of this world-famous environmentalist, and he was doing a book signing, and his best man at his wedding was Shatner, believe it or not. And the other guy who was at this book signing was Steven Seagal. So I walked up to Seagal and reached out, "Hey, I'm a 7th dan in judo." He just sat there, looked like this, looking out like a real prick. And then my wife came over to me like this. Excuse me, sorry. My wife came over to save me. Like, get away from him, you're embarrassing yourself. And I said, hang on, Sharon, I got one more thing to say. I said, we do have a mutual friend. And he goes, looks at me and goes, Gene told me if I ran into you to give you his best regards. And he went like this. And I said, okay, Sharon, I'm ready to walk away. And I went out to my car and I called Gene and told him that story. And he said, I'm under obligation not to talk about that. I said, that's okay, I did it for you. Anyhow, rest in peace, Gene. You're a real Mensch. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so this is the way I met Gene LaBelle in '96. I came out here to check out America, see what it would be like. At the Los Angeles Police Academy, You were there as well, everybody was there. And I was teaching leg locks. And this crazy guy, and I heard of Gene LaBelle, but I never met him. And this crazy guy was constantly, when I made a lock, he goes, "Perfectly executed!" And I go, who's this crazy guy with the red hair is walking around? I go, well, he's talking good things, so I just let him go, you know. But constantly he would say something, and it was good stuff. So I really enjoyed him already. And then my friend came over to me and he says, "Hey, Bas, you want to meet Gene LaBelle?" I go, "Man, he's here." And he goes, "Yeah, he's here." And he walked me to the guy with the red hair. And it was Gene LaBelle. So since then we started connecting. Great guy. I remember a story I gave him a t-shirt one time because he wanted to pick up chicks, is what he said. My face on it, and he says, maybe because it says El Guapo, maybe I have more luck. And unfortunately it didn't work, he said, but then he realized the lady told him, you're wearing it inside out. And that was his joke to me. I heard that story 15 times from him every time I had to. But you know Gene, that was Gene. All right, I think we got the next one right there. George Barnett.
Anyway, I'll just make it short and quick. We were working together on, I think it was Hard to Kill, with Steven Seagal, and closer? Here? Is that better? Oh, there you go. I was wondering why I couldn't hear anybody. Anyway, we were getting ready to set up a shot, and Gene had brought his four-wheeler to the set because they were going to do a camera shot with Gene driving the four-wheeler and the cameraman on the back, looking back at the at Steven Seagal chasing, I think it was Danny Trejo. They were running out of chasing each other. And so anyway, he said, "Mario, let's go to the back and help me unload my truck, my four-wheeler." And I said, "Okay." So I'm walking in the back, and as I'm walking back there with him, we were at Values Inn Ranch at the time. I walked in the back with him, and there's the motorhome on our left, and Steven was sitting in his director's chair just in front of it, and his LAPD guard was right there to the right, and they were talking. So Gene and I'm following Gene, he's walking forward, walks behind Seagal, and as he walks past him, Seagal saw him, and he said, "Hey, is that Gene LaBelle?" He goes, he told his LAPD guy, he goes, "This is the only guy in the world that can kick my ass." So Gene turned around, stopped, and they started talking, and I'm right there with them. And he said, they started exchanging martial arts moves. So he started showing him some wrist locks. Steven was showing him one, and then Gene was showing the counters, of course. And then Gene started sharing a little bit of knowledge with them. And so he was showing Steven how to do, he would put him in a cobra choke from behind, and showing him, hey, if the camera's in front of you, so you don't stack up the actor and the bad guy or whoever's in front, you can have two heads. You can both see both actors in the shot by doing this kind of a thing. The guy can struggle around and do his whole deal. Well, then all of a sudden Steven said, and Gene's already got him in the cobra choke. He's just holding him gently, but he's behind Steven. So all five of his units are forward. Gene's behind him. So then he said, Seagal said, "I never let anybody get behind me." And Gene, he's already holding him. He said, "Well, when I'm behind somebody, they're mine." And as soon as he said that, Seagal swatted down, hit him in the nuts. And as soon as he did that, Gene just cranked him with that three-finger grip, cross-faced him, and took him straight down to the ground and leaned on his. And if you've ever wrestled with Gene, you know how painful it is when he had his neck was, his ponytail went that way, his neck went straight, and then he just cranked him forward. I can't do it without losing the mic, but he cranked forward, and his neck was just crunched forward. He didn't put him unconscious. He didn't put him in a sleeper hold. He didn't put him in a rear naked choke. He just did a neck lock crank on him. But when he did it, he went down so fast, and then he got up real quick and started dusting himself off because he was embarrassed. And then we just walked off and went and got the truck and everything. And then all the rumors started flying on the set, and everything changed. You know, I've heard the story so many times, and I'm thinking, well, who was actually there? That was actually right there with them, the four of us. I know I've heard different people say, well, I was there and I was there, the different stunt guys, but maybe they were at a wide-angle shot behind us, but I never saw any. There were just four guys there. Steven, his LAPD guy, and Gene and myself. So that's how the story went.
Martial arts magazines growing up as a kid, then eventually forging my own path in MMA with some great coaches, ending up under the tutelage of people like Billy Robinson and Antonio Inoki in the world of professional wrestling, and coming back around again, meeting Gene LaBelle being in absolute awe, but yet having a connection between the two of us that just turned into a giant run-on joke that went on for the entirety of our relationship. So I met him and I talked to him about being with Inoki and being working. He goes, oh, and you're former UFC fighter? Oh yeah, champ and all that. Oh great. But you're a worker, yeah? Yeah. Stop that real stuff. That's stupid. You get hurt. Go work. It's way easier than doing this. I go, you know, Gene, I get hurt doing that too, actually. The scheduling is even worse. He goes, if you can fall off a motorcycle, you can do anything. I was like, well, I'm not trying to do that either, but we got to talk about, I go, you know, you're a catch wrestler, so am I. And, you know, I train in judo as well, and obviously, this is your namesake. And I go, you know, it always kills me, I always correct people. I go, it's not a kimura, it's a double wrist lock. So we went on about that a little bit. The next time I see him, he goes, hey, why don't you come up and teach me a kimura? And I go, well, you know that's not the case. I get texts, and have gotten texts. Every time I know someone's running to Gene LaBelle, I get a call, I get a text message, someone wanting me to teach them the kimura. I know exactly what has happened. It is without a doubt always the case. But you know, I've introduced my fighters if a friend is Uncle G. Victor Henry, who's going to fight next weekend, legitimately said, no, I have to be choked out to get that patch. And so he's been through it. We absolutely miss G. He was an amazing, amazing individual. And he's a legendary martial artist. And he's one of those people you say they don't make them like that anymore, right? Well, how about we just end that? We start trying to make them more like that. Learn from G, and that example, carry that fire. Let's see what we can do in his honor. Thank you so much.
And I had heard stories about him in his wild days. I heard stories about him as a judo champion, but I was impressed. I know a lot of judo champions. I've been a judo champion. So I moved out here to LA in 1982. I meet this guy, and he's got a lot of stories. Very nice, funny old guy. He tells me he's a stunt guy. He tells me he's been on movies. He's married to one Mensch, who's his fourth and fifth wife, and he rides motorcycles. And he figures all a bunch of big lies, right? But I mean, he's a nice little guy, so I work out with him. And then I come to find out that every word of it was true. And I think that one of the better things that you can do is live a life so that when you tell people your story, they think that's gotta be